Hi everybody, it's Dana LaRae. Guess who did their due diligence and went to see Sinners? Yes, the hype is worth it. Will this video have any spoiler alert? To be honest with you, by the time this video comes out, everybody should have seen it by now. I remember everybody telling me that the movie was out and that they had gotten tickets for it and that you have to book them way in advance and all this stuff like that, which is not really a lie because when I went to the movie theater yesterday to see the movie, super packed. I went into the movie because I had listened to a little bit of content on YouTube about it and like what to expect. And a lot of people were saying the movie was revolutionary. It was like the Black Matrix of our generation. Like there were so many beautiful things that were said about this movie. I think the deal that Ryan Coogler did, not to get too much in his business, he profited a lot, which I'm very happy for him on. You know, I'm big on us representing us, writing for us, casting us. When I went into the movie, I already had extremely high expectations. It did not disappoint me. What I found so remarkable about that movie though, my takeaways, there's a lot that I'm still decoding. Like, I want to go see it a second, a third time, and I want to do it in my own comfort zone because the movie was so original, but I feel like it was a lot of gore. Somebody like me, I'm not really into that much gore. So it was already uncomfortable being in a room full of strangers watching that movie and jumping and stuff. And then not to mention the cinematography was so amazing. And I'm even looking at how the scenes are shot and how realistic it looks. And Michael B. Jordan is taking down this beautiful Black woman in this like business. I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. This is a lot to take in by yourself, not in a room full of strangers trying to really, you know, take all the nuance in. So I remember when it got to the part where they had opened a juke joint, I feel like Ryan Coogler depicted this so well. You ever been to the club, right? Within the club, there are literally worlds all on their own. Like there's conversations being had in sections, there's riffraff at the bar, there's the dance floor, there's the energy exchange between everybody in the immediate facility. And I'm just thinking to myself like, wow, this movie truly in that moment, I felt like I was in that juke joint with all of them, which I imagine is every film creative's goal, is to put the person that's watching the film in the actual time period. It was a period piece, so I really felt like in that moment I was in that club with all of them. This video is more not a review on Sinners per se, even though I genuinely enjoyed the movie. It's more so what I took from Sinners, which may not be everyone's experience, but it was mine. So when I was in the film and I felt like I was in that juke joint, it brought me back to my old life. And I've been seeing this quote on Instagram. I've been seeing this quote online. I've been watching YouTube content that says, when your old life comes knocking, don't answer. And it made me think like, that's so corny. That's so cliche, talking about your old life. When ain't nobody coming to knock once you move around and you're not doing the things you used to do. No. That quote is starting to prove itself more and more to me every day. Recently, I've had the craziest instances happen to me that pertain to the old version of myself and not the new version. Now, mind you, it was just a Venus retrograde. So the last two men that I dated and dated somewhat seriously, like we were really thinking about, you know, having a serious committed bond, they came knocking in the same week. Now, I have not talked to one of them in about 2 years, and I have not talked to the other one in 1 year. It blew my mind that they both contacted me within the same week. You know? Like, there's no happy ending to this story besides me telling the one from 2 years ago, what's up? And him being like, oh, I was just, you know, checking on you. Screech. It was like, no, like we have not talked in 2 years. Don't just check on me. That is awkward. Like we don't even know each other like that, Playboy. So I just left it at, can I help you? And he just, you know, kind of played it off like, you still selling those shea butters? I'm like, sure. So I sent him the website and that was that, right? The second one from a year ago, he contacted me. And you know, normally I'd let stuff ride, like that wasn't his first time contacting me. But I told myself if he ever contacts me again, I would tell him some things that I never really told him. Not that I was holding on to them, not that I have animosity. It was just that I never really voiced my thoughts on how things went in that bond. And I gave him those words and he took them. He was a little shocked and he left. He scattered on out the way because I dismissed him too. That was kind of crazy to me. Now, one of my friends recently came out to visit me as well. love him to death. He's the best. He's my heart. He brought with him a specific drink that we used to drink where I'm from back in Chicago. He was out in California to attend another event, so he brought the drink as a celebratory drink. When he brought it to me, because, I got the pleasure of like hosting him for 2 days until he went to his actual event, well, he had a sip of it, right? It was alcohol. I had literally this much. I say a half of a shot. We had it right before we fell asleep. When I tell you all, I did not sleep the entire night. Like, I was literally tossing and turning, and I had not felt that sensation in about 1.5 years because I just haven't been drinking. I woke up the next morning and I asked him, I was like, do you toss and turn after you drink alcohol? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, how do you get any rest knowing that you toss and turn? And he's just like, I mean, it's not that, it's not to the point where it disturbs my sleep. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, okay. So I go la-di-da-di-da, go to the gym, and I go into my vinyasa heated yoga class, right? I try to do a warrior 3. For those of you that don't know, a warrior 3 is kind of like, you have one leg up in the air, the other leg is on the floor. Your arms can be propelled out or they can be in prayer position right by your chest, by your heart. So when I tried to do my warrior 3, I'm normally on my cues in yoga. For some reason, I was just not balanced. I was completely off of balance and I could not figure out why. And I kept thinking to myself, like, there's no way in the world this small amount of alcohol has propelled me to not be able to do a warrior 3 in class and caused me not to get any sleep. So I let that go, right? I'm like, whatever. Those 2 instances happened back to back. The guys reaching out, the alcohol, little shot consumption that I had. And then things get weirder. I think to myself, like, okay, maybe drinking even a little bit of alcohol is not for me. For those of you that don't know, now this is a fun fact. This is actually hilarious. I have a roommate and she's 70 years old. Go figure. Dana LeRae would have a 70-year-old roommate. I'm really good with seniors and I really get along with older people and I attract a lot of them. She's also Russian. So there's the clipper in there. I'm cooking today and she's cooking and she stops and she looks at me and she asks me, she said, Dana, I have whiskey. Do you want to take a shot? And I look at her, I'm like, this lady ain't never seen me drink no alcohol in her house. I don't know what made her just ask me that. But I looked at her and I was like, no, thank you. I don't want one. She said, oh yeah, you don't drink. I was like, yeah, I don't drink. This took me on this wild journey through my cell phone, right? I know this is all very all over the place, but it'll connect soon to the movie Sinners. And I start looking at images in my phone of 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, and I start seeing how I used to look. And I start thinking back to those times and those photos and what I was doing. I was going out to the club. I was having unsuccessful connections with dating. I have not had, I'm gonna be honest, too many experiences with dating a lot of men, because when I get in a committed relationship, I tend to just stay in a relationship. But the relationship that I had around the time, 5 to 4 years ago, it wasn't working. And I think about how I was living my life completely different than I live now. I was drinking. I would go out to the club every once in a while. I was just pursuing what I felt like at the moment was an education with my master's and a new business with my shea butter company. Behind all of that, I also had so much unfulfillment with my day-to-day. And when I watched the movie Sinners, I thought about how it took me back to a space in my own reality where going out and doing things like partying or drinking, or even in that movie how 2 of the characters, the woman that was married and the young man that had that talent as being a blues singer, how they slept together and she was in a committed bond. And I thought to myself, wow, that scene in the movie really stuck out, because I'm like, everybody in this spot is doing something they really kind of don't got no business doing. Not she cheating on her husband, not people getting drunk as hell, not violence behind it all with what's brewing in the background, with the vampires and whatnot. And I just started thinking, when I was in that era of my life where things were kind of chaotic, because I had not formulated a lifestyle around peace, that movie really brought me back to my old version and how I'm so grateful to not be in it anymore. And when I was talking to my friend this morning, one of my male friends, about how I had taken that half a shot with my friend that came to visit, he was telling me, like, you know, I didn't want to crack down on you because it seemed kind of lame to be like telling you like what to do. You a grown woman. He was like, but you've come so far. You're a completely new person. And I really think that you should take into consideration the fact that you're not a drinker at all, babe. Like, not even this much of a shot. And those men that reached out to you, because he knows about those instances, he's like, those guys that reach out to you to try to, you know, get back into your life that you used to date, they're not your type of nigga no more, babe. And when you're in yoga, you need to be in your practice, and you can't do so if you have alcohol in your body. You can't do so when you have men hitting up your phone that don't have your best interest at heart. Like, he was just laying it all out to me. He was like, the next phases in your life look completely different than you've ever been in, and you have to start holding yourself to, he phrased it so perfectly, not just trying, but really being. He was like, not just saying, but really doing. And I was like, who do you think you are? And he's like, no, I'm saying this because he was like, you'll give 90%, but you can give 100. He was like, so throw out drinking. Throw out men in your life that don't have your best interest in your heart, which I already do. I'm a Virgo, and I don't like you no more. I don't like you no more. But I understand the nuance of what he's saying. Like, stay on your trajectory. And like, when I was watching that movie Sinners, I'm sure Ryan Coogler wanted us all to walk away with the reflections of ourselves that we can release to get to a better version of ourselves. That movie really showed us how those small decisions can really lead to really big, chaotic circumstances. I remember I used to drink, come out, my car towed. I remember I used to drink, go home, somebody called me the next day, somebody got into a car wreck. It's just, at this point in my life, because of that movie and because of where it brought me, it reminded me, like, you don't want to go back to that old version. I don't know what everybody else took from the movie, but that was my takeaways. And I hope that when you see it, you're able to share in the comments what you learned and what you loved about it. But overall, like I said, this wasn't per se about the movie, but it was about what it gave me, which is the reminder to, I don't like to use the word sinners. It sounds a little too religious, but it reminds me to stay on the higher frequency that I'm already geared towards. So I love you all. Thank you so much for listening to my little rants, and peace and love.